Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. I'm Shanae Howard. This is Thomas Shelby,
Hi.
more affectionately known as Tom or Tommy. And
Yeah.
then this
Tomothy.
is Tomothy, yes, the
Yeah.
third. And then this beautiful man is Ryan Robinson.
Hi guys. Glad to be here. Just got my name legally changed from Lorian, so I'm really excited about it.
Did I say little Ryan?
No,
No.
but that's my legal name.
And then how are you guys?
And then I'm okay.
I'm pretty good. What's up?
Nothing. I'm excellent, Shanae. I'm doing real good. Let me
That's
tell
good
you
to
why I'm
hear.
doing so good. There's this game called The Last Blade 2, and it got rollback netcode. And that's a 22-year-old game,
Yeah,
and it plays real nice online.
it's like we were in the same room together.
So, that's nice. That's making my week good.
Yeah. Uh,
Um,
I went 40-1 against Tom last night, or 1-40, I should say.
Yeah.
so are you the 40 or are you the one?
I'm the one.
I knew that. I didn't need to ask.
You
Yeah,
didn't know that, Shanae. Ryan's good at fighting games, okay?
yeah.
If someone's gonna beat someone 40 to 1, like it's gonna be you versus it's gonna be you with the 40.
He doesn't know this game very well.
Yeah, I just bought it yesterday.
But we've also discussed about how me and Ryan are bad at video games.
I mean, I'm at the point where I don't think I'm bad at video games anymore, Shanae.
Oh, well, I
You're
still
on that
think
island by yourself now.
Yeah, it's just an island full of you and James.
Yeah.
James Wells or Sandusky.
Uh,
Sandusky, I'm talking shit, but he actually beat me in Street Fighter today, so.
so,
But yeah, what have you guys been playing?
That's really about it. I just that and some Street Fighter with Ryan. I haven't found. I haven't made much time for video games this week.
Mm.
Yeah.
Too busy running a drug syndicate.
Yeah. I
man,
wish.
that would be so cool, Tom. We're doing that.
No, just other things
You'd have
going
so
on.
much money. You'd have so much more money
Yeah.
But
to buy
I'm
us
off.
stuff.
I'm off tomorrow, so I'll probably play some games tomorrow.
Right on.
Nice. What about you, Ryan?
So I'm still going through that Days Gone, and I was telling Tom
Dead
yesterday.
Don't Ride.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, better name. I was telling Tom yesterday that game, like from a gameplay standpoint, isn't bad. It's just that like the main character, Deacon St. John, man, that guy sucks. That guy just really, really sucks. And it's funny because there's a fair amount of stuff around Deacon that's interesting, but Deacon himself is just the worst.
Maybe
Uh,
you'll like him more if you watch
Is
more
he?
Sons of Anarchy.
I've
Is he
I've
the?
I've seen Sons of Anarchy in its entirety, and
Yeah.
yeah, that guy sucks. That guy seems like someone watched an episode of Sons of Anarchy and then made that guy.
I was
Uh,
like, does he suck because he's boring, or does he suck because he's just a bad character?
uh, I guess both, because like I don't know if he's like a bad character. I just think I don't know. I think conceptually he could be a good character, but he's just written so poorly, and all his lines are just so bad. It's just I don't know. Uh,
Just imagine he's the renegade Lorenzo Lamas.
I feel like that'd help.
Yeah.
Um, and then I've been playing Street Fighter with Tom and the boys, and also like Tom said, playing the Last Blade 2 last night. That game, even for being 22 years old, is still very very good. The game plays so well. It just feels solid, and it's like it's awesome because like it's especially with so many games that come out now that just feel half baked, and you get a game that's that old and still feels good. It's awesome. And lastly, Sandy got me a code for Neo 2,
Oh, nice.
which I've been playing a pretty good amount over the last day and a half. Um, the game is so far it's pretty good. It's definitely challenging. Um, it's got some additional weapons over the that were added from the first game, and also I can make my own character now. So um, my character looks like Lupita Nyong'o, and that's pretty cool.
Ooh,
You know what makes
love
me feel
her.
bad? It makes me feel bad that you said Sandy got you that. Sandy got me the code, I think day one for Days Gone,
Yeah.
and I just really did not care for that game.
Well, I mean, who could have known? You know,
Yeah.
who could
Yeah.
have known?
Sandy did his best.
Yeah, he
You need to
tried.
stop. You need to stop being so mean to Sandy.
Mm, yeah, I feel like I'm pretty nice to that guy, all things considered.
I
Um,
mean, just minus all the shit talking you do.
I mean, I should talk to
Yeah.
Tom too. You know, I should talk to you as well. But
Yeah, but every now and then you compliment us, and I never heard you compliment Sandy. So you should compliment Sandy right now.
Yeah, why
well,
don't you say something nice, Ryan?
You too,
Uh,
Tommy.
Sandy, you are really good at choosing your character very quickly in Street Fighter. You always know who you want to be, so I'm never waiting on you to decide. So that's nice.
It feels like a backhand compliment.
I mean, it's true.
What about you, Thomas?
Sandy, you are the most Texas man I know, and perhaps the most manly man I know,
Sure.
and
That
I salute you.
Yeah.
that's pretty fair. He's very Texas, and he is definitely a manly man. Not
Yeah.
like in a toxic masculinity way, just like he's just like a solid manly dude.
No, I meant in the toxic kind of way.
Yeah. You didn't see what you didn't see what he said to that lady during that what was that game we played, Tom? Where we were the cops who got locked up for murder.
Oh yeah.
Hidden agenda. Yeah.
I was gonna say Prison Break.
Yeah, he was really mean to that lady. But
Nice.
that's mainly it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised for nobody. Animal Crossing. I finally got enough blue and black flowers to make my gloomy island. I've
Yeah.
been terraforming for that. I built a warehouse. I have like a stage now on my island, and just really, my sister hasn't played as much, so it's really just been a lot of me doing things in the game, and but a lot of other friends have started playing it now.
Yeah.
So it's been nice because I've been having them on my island, and I'm like, here are all the extra stuff I have. You can have it because it's going to make the rest of your game a little bit easier.
Sure.
That's good of
Um,
you.
Thanks.
She's only doing it because she can write it off on her taxes.
Yeah. I mean, Tom Nook doesn't give me a discount, which is bullshit, but whatever. I'm almost debt free to that fucking raccoon.
Yeah.
And then,
That's what you think.
what I know. And then I've just been really, really getting into watching a lot of streamers play Animal Crossing or people who make edited like Animal Crossing content. And
Edited how?
Huh?
Edited in what way?
So there's a guy who's been blowing up. Like he still isn't like a ridiculous amount, but I think he's hit over 100K now of subscribers. But before this, I think he only had like 5,000.
Yeah.
And he was like known in Splatoon stuff, but now he's been doing Animal Crossing videos. His name's Etz, ETCE, like etc. But just Etz. And
That's not his name, I guarantee you.
well, it's how he pronounces his online name.
Sure. It's pronounced that way.
Yeah. He's been so he has a side A and a side B, which side A is like edited content, so it's like shortened down to like 7 minutes or so
Yeah.
of like things he's been doing on his island, and then he has at side B that's like more streams. And side A and side B have been like messing with each other. Like side B will like kick off a villager that side A likes and then created like a prison for all like the current villagers, and side A will go up and be like, damn you side B. And so it's been pretty fun like that thing. But a lot of other edited content is just like giving tips. Some like larger Animal Crossing YouTubers will like go and visit like their subscribers' islands and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I just so I've just been enjoying that. And yeah, just Animal Crossing as always.
As always.
Since this game launched, like on March 20th.
Sure.
Part of me though really wants to just reset my island, and then.
I mean, you could do it.
But like I have so many things I have cataloged and done now.
Yes, you
but
do.
I am about.
Yes,
but
you do.
But now I'm about to kick Burrow off my island because I found out that you
Uh-oh.
can do that. Because like creating a
Uh-oh.
cool space for his house like took a lot of my land space,
Sure.
and
You
I really
know,
want a soccer
You
field.
people do love having land.
yeah.
What do you mean, you people?
I feel like that behavior's in your
Gamers?
blood.
Oh, gamers? Yeah.
That's-
No, but I found out that if I log in as his profile and then delete the Animal Crossing data, it'll take his house out off of my island. So that's nice. Now I get all the space back.
Yeah.
Because I made like a cool little like Zen garden, like cliffside thing for him. So I was like, well, Bird is going to be in this game, but then he hasn't touched it since the first day.
Yeah.
And with Jolly Red, the guy who comes and gives you like paintings and stuff, if you log in as the secondary profile, then you get a second shot to buy things from him if you got like a counterfeit thing. But you know, I just don't really care about the paintings that much to keep them on my island. And I already asked him if it's cool, so, and I already found a way. So I got a picture of his character in the game, turned it into like digital art thing, got a QR code, scanned it into my Switch. So now I have a painting with his face in there. So I'm gonna make a memorial room for him.
Well, you can put a tombstone.
Yeah.
I could, but instead I'm gonna make a memorial room with like a bunch of seance stuff.
I'm just saying, Spooky Island tombstone, you know.
Yeah. Where's all your tombstones?
It's Gloomy Island. It's depressing.
Tombstones
the name of my
are
island is
depressing.
Desperate.
Yeah. You know, I have been playing a lot of DJ Hero. It just completely skipped my mind. But
Yeah.
going back through those.
One time I asked Tom if he wanted to hang out, but he said he had to go spin a set, and he couldn't hang out with me.
That's true.
So.
Yeah,
Tom.
I've been working my way through both those games, and I'm like, I don't know, like 80% done with the first one. Then I'll
Nice.
move on to part 2. But you know, I've played them both before, but it's time to play them again.
It is time. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm glad on there. And then, but.
And I dissected one of those bitches to see what makes them tick. I can't
saw
really
that.
do much in the way of modding that.
But you did like seem to like decorate it or put tape on it or something. In the
That's
picture
just,
I saw.
yeah, no, that's just what do you call it? A vinyl wrap. But
Yeah.
I wanted to see, like, could I replace those shitty buttons with some good buttons? But like, no, that's too much work. It's not worth it.
Too much.
Yeah.
Not. But yeah, it is kind of. So I can't do a good segue. So this week we wanted to talk about our favorite games on this current generation.
Correct.
And Thomas, would you like to lead the conversation?
I don't know, dude. Like, remasters or remakes, as far as like remakes that are pretty much the same as the old ones, right? Like
Yeah.
Crash Insane Trilogy, it's the same geometry, right? Shadow of the Colossus, it's the same geometry. So nothing like that, right? But Ryan and I discussed it, and we're like, well, Resident Evil remake or like Final Fantasy VII remake are actually different games.
Yeah.
So those could be there, you know. Regardless, I don't have any of that shit on mine. But I have a stupidly long list here, which kind of makes me feel bad for complaining about this generation so much.
But
But
we also talked about that a lot of games in this generation could have been on past generations.
that's very true. That's very true.
So your complaint's still somewhat valid.
But I didn't like really put them in any specific order, so I'm just gonna like give
So
you
these are
guys
your
one.
top favorite to least favorite. Got it. Okay.
I was gonna give you guys one, and then I guess like we can just take turns, or do you want me to go through all of mine?
Let's just take
I say-
turns until all our lists are done. What do you think, Shanae?
All right, if that's what you want to do, let's do it.
All right, so I'm gonna start with a game called Demon's Tilt.
Oh yeah, that game's real cool.
So like, there used to be some old 16-bit games called Devil's Crush and Alien's Crush, and they're digital pinball games, you know. But the tables are all fucking weird and fucking satanic and shit, and really crazy.
Satan's
and, like,
cool, man.
Mechanically, they felt really good to play, at least for back then, you know. Like, it's better than like Sonic Spinball or whatever, right? Or Space Cadet, like, felt better than those games, you know.
Yeah.
Demon's Tilt is a successor to those games, and it's so good. It's just a lot of fun. Like, I can't say there's anything like fucking spectacular about it, but like the table animates in just very interesting ways, and it feels like those games. And I don't know, there's just something to it. It's a really cool game. And when I think about this generation, it's one of the games I think of.
Yeah, I actually fire that game up from time to time. Like, just like sometimes I just get in the mood to play some pinball, and because I regularly uninstall it and reinstall it whenever I feel like playing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that game's a lot of fun. It has some like little like shooter elements to it as well, and
A little bit, yeah.
and it's just really neat. Like like one of the things that like big elements of pinball are like the sounds that the table makes and like all the shit that lights up, and like it's just all like very like all the sounds of that on that game are just really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really fun.
And it's like one of those games like I remember in middle school, you know, I had this old fucking computer, and it could play games like Doom or whatever, but it couldn't play anything really modern, you know?
Yeah.
But I would spend fucking hours playing games like Snake and Space Cadet, like a lot of Space Cadet, you know? And it reminds me a lot of that shit. And also, like, I like digital pinball games as far as just like a few times Shanae and I played video games together was, I think, Pinball Arcade or Pinball FX, one of them. You know?
I think it's Pinball Effects.
I think so too. But like, you know, it's a good time. It's a good time.
Very cool.
You got one, Ryan?
Yeah. So, all right. So I guess the first one I want to talk about is Watch Dogs 2. So,
Whoa.
like the first Watch Dogs, it was very like not. It was just very like by the numbers, like, and it felt very generic. But like Watch Dogs 2 was a game that was just like, not only did it not take itself too seriously, but just the entire vibe of the game was just so refreshing, and it didn't feel like it was pandering to like meme culture or anything. Like it would reference memes for sure, but like it didn't make any like dated references or anything like that. And the humor was very smart, and the story was well written, and the characters, like even the characters that I thought that I would really not like, I ended up finding like endearing, like very early on.
Like that guy with the dumb mask?
Yeah, like that is the guy that I was so sure I would hate that guy. I was certain I would hate that guy, but I actually like him a lot. Yeah. And you know, I think that the game has a lot of like really smart like commentary like written into the storyline, and you know, I've never been to San Francisco, but I've always heard that people who live there like say it's like it's a very accurate, portrayal of that city as far as like the layout is concerned. But
Mm.
the world, like driving around and running around in that world is like just really really fun. Like there's stuff to find and like fun collectibles to get, and it has this thing in there where like in your smartphone they have like fictional versions of like real world apps, and like there's this one that is like I'm pretty sure is like
Clugger.
no, I'm pretty sure is like supposed to be Instagram, and and basically like it's like a challenge. Like it'll have like all these locations for you to like take pictures in front of, and so you take selfies in front of those different locations and like you get like rewards for it. And it's just like it's just like a cool way to like see different things in the city. And it was just it's like I love the hacking, and like I know like that shit's like unrealistic, but it's like it's fun,
Yeah.
and I just I really really enjoyed that game. And I'm glad that I actually just recently finally sat down and just played through it, like because that was time that I get to spend with like one of my favorite protagonists. Like I think Marcus is just like very very well written and like very likable and very relatable, and he says like a lot of shit that I have thought of and like in my life. Like he talks about
So
like,
you're Marcus?
well, no, but what I'm saying is that like I think Marcus is a character who engages with his ethnicity, like is forced to in like a lot of ways, and he's vocalized like different thoughts that I've had about like being black in sometimes spaces where like he's the only black person and shit like that, and it was like wow, it's really cool to have that stuff
Like
acknowledged.
Well, then
like
don't live
now?
in San Francisco, you know?
Sure.
Go to Louisiana.
uh, yeah, but like yeah, I enjoyed that game a lot, and I'm hoping that like I don't know like what my feelings are about what I've seen, what little I've seen of Legion, but I hope that it can like I hope that it tells as good a story as Watch Dogs 2 did, and is as fun to play. But yeah.
Uh, so I do have a quick question about like what qualifies. If it was coming out at the tail end of last generation, can we count it for this or no?
Well, I think if it's like a cross-generational thing, right? Like Breath of the Wild came out last gen and this gen, day and date. I think you can count that, right? But
What about Diablo 3? Because it came out
nah,
on PlayStation 3
nah,
4 or 5
son.
months before PlayStation 4 did.
It came out on PlayStation 3 well before PlayStation 4.
Hmm.
No, because it came out in
Like it came out
20.
last
Maybe
gen.
Reaper of Souls.
Yeah,
But
Reaper of
like
Souls.
the original Diablo 3 came out on last gen consoles way before.
Yeah.
Well, I said like it came out a couple months before it launched when I was looking at the dates. So I was trying to think about like what I've really played with like this gen. I think is gonna like make me really remember it.
Yeah. Well,
Um.
I'll tell you what, Janae.
All right. So
If Diablo
like,
3 is what you remember this generation for, fuck it. Go for it.
well, it's one of them, but I did also have Breath of the Wild, so we can also already talk about Breath of the Wild. I don't really think we have anything we haven't said before, but like just fantastic game.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people consider the Switch part of eighth generation, and some see it seventh. So I don't know, like what not Switch, the Wii U.
Yeah.
So I feel like that definitely has more leniency on there. I mean, it's just
Nintendo's
so
definitely
really.
somewhere in between, right? But, like, it came out on Switch day and date, so, like, it's certainly current, you know?
What came out on Wii U before it came out on Switch?
Same day.
I
Okay.
mean, we can Google it. I can Google
Promise
it
you.
right now. I'll Google it.
Promise you.
Oh, let's have Brian Google
I mean, I'll do it.
it because it won't matter to me if I'm wrong. I'm fine being wrong, but it makes me feel really happy when you're wrong.
Sure.
All right, I'm Googling
But
right
I'm
now.
not.
All right. The Legend of Zelda
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Okay. Here we go.
Here we go.
All right.
Waste all this time here.
Yeah, we're gonna. All right. Released on both Nintendo Switch and Wii U on March 3rd, 2017.
Shocking. Let's move on. Fantastic game. Yeah, that game's phenomenal. That game makes me not want to play other open world games that are not that game. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
for real, like seriously.
It's just so well done.
Yeah.
And I have a couple other games on my list that like we have talked about before in past games. Because as we talked about before, I tend to like when I find a game, I stick with it for a couple months before I find a new one.
For
A lot of
sure.
times I'll play like mobile games in between, but I just feel like lame for talking about them all the time because they're the same thing. They're all like pay to win, but as soon as I hit that pay block, I just delete it and start the new one.
I mean, if it's what you're playing and you're enjoying it, who cares? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
Um,
any of those are your games of the generation, though, right?
No, there's stupid phone games that while somebody at work is complaining about dumb shit that I just play, and I'm like, Ellis, I'm so sorry.
Sure.
But yeah, no, just Breath of the Wild was on my list.
Well, chef's kiss.
You give it 2 chef's
Mwah.
kisses, man.
Mwah.
There you go.
Excellent.
There you go.
That's a spicy meatball.
Yeah. Thanks to Tom, I got to play that a little bit, and I didn't get too far into it, but just the ways that game lets you interact with it, and like the way it encourages like experimentation and like improvisation with a lot of stuff is just like really, really impressive, and it accounts for shit that I didn't think it would, and that's like really amazing to me because not a lot of games do that. But yeah, I hope to finish that game someday.
One day.
Not today though.
Well, whenever Tom gets done borrowing my Wii U, you can borrow that. and
I'm
play
not gonna be done borrowing it.
No,
so.
you might as well just buy another Wii U, man.
it.
Uh,
Yeah.
Tetris Effect is like so fucking good. I love that game
Yeah.
so much. So that's Enhanced, right? So it's a lot of the same guys, Mizuguchi and team, right? So the guys that did Rez and Luminous and a lot of other badass games. But like, I don't know, man. I must in my lifetime I must have played at least 30 or so different Tetris games,
Yeah.
And Tetris Effect is up there. It's certainly not my favorite Tetris, but it's up there, man. Like
What do
the
you?
way the game plays and the fact that it's not like it is about score, but like the main campaign, like that's not really what it's about. It's about just kind of like it's about being in the zone,
Yeah.
Like that's such a cool idea to base a game around and actually have that work out,
Yeah.
And I know it's not going to work out that way for everybody, right? Like a lot of people are just bad at Tetris, and like that's okay. But like
It's not.
But like the game does a better job of teaching you Tetris than any other Tetris game.
Yeah.
It's got all these different modes, and each of those modes is there to teach you a gameplay element that works in most all Tetris games.
Yeah.
The music's phenomenal, the visuals are phenomenal, and like I don't think a fucking puzzle game has ever made me feel emotional before,
Yeah.
But like Tetris Effect certainly can get you there, man.
Yeah.
It's rad.
Yeah. Like a lot of I think that the best way to describe my experience with it is just like there's such an interesting synthesis of like with the music and the visuals and just the gameplay and like the sound design is like all of it like just fits together so well, and then it takes you through the different like it transitions you from one board to the next like so seamlessly, and it's an amazing game. And like and like I think like a lot of people that were like initially like you talk about how good Tetris Effect is, and people initially was like, well, it's Tetris, like how amazing could it be? But you actually play it and it's a Tetris game. I think the first time like I've ever played Tetris, where I was like, man, this Tetris feels really good. It like feels really good to play this game. Um, I
And it reminds me, like, it makes me think of my sister a lot because, like, we grew up playing games together, and like, she bought a PlayStation for this game,
yeah
you know, and like, we'd go back and forth on like leaderboards in this game, and back and forth on trophies for this game,
yeah
and both competing in the same weekend rituals and stuff like that. And like, it's
yeah
been a long time since we've had that kind of thing together, so
yeah.
it was really cool game.
Um, well, Shanae's not here, so
Yeah, she's dead.
yeah, she the ghost got her. Um, so I guess I'll do mine. So I also have Yakuza 0 on here,
Oh yeah.
and so I had played Yakuza before, right? I have the first game on PS2, but I bought it like after the announcement of Zero and Kiwami. So
I remember that. Yeah.
so like, don't ask me why I did that, but so I decided like I got like 10 minutes into that game, and then I was like, I'm just gonna play Zero, and then I'm gonna play Kiwami, and it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I think I should have played Kiwami first, then Zero. But
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
but anyway, but like Zero was like definitely like my first formal introduction into the Yakuza series, and man, like I guess like the most reductive way I've described it is it's Shenmue if Shenmue was fun, but I think there's like a lot more to it than that. Like the story, like the main story is really good. Like talks about like it's like all about betrayal and revenge and like brotherhood and all this other shit, and it's really awesome. But like it's all also like really over the top, and like the action is cool, like all the different like moves and like using the environment, like you'd be fighting in the like some guys would pick a fight with you in the street, and then you like find like the sign for like a light up sign for a store on the side of the street, and it's like take it, like bash a dude over the head with it, and it's just really it's like really satisfying. It has like a lot of impact to it, but like Kiryu, the main character, like he's also like really awesome. He's like this, like he's always like all about like honor and like doing what's right, but he's also like endearingly naive about like certain things because he was like also in prison for 10 years, and but like even still like in Zero though, before he went to prison, he's still like this young yakuza who's like still trying to figure shit out, and it's just a really really awesome game with an awesome story. But like it also allows you to play as one of like the like I guess Kiryu's main antagonist before he became that, this guy named Goro Majima, and the story like goes between the two of them, like the shit that they're having to deal with, and but also he's like a vehicle into like probably the most addictive minigame I've ever played, which is where you use him as like you play as him as a manager of a hostess club, and like you have to like the whole mini game is like your like guests come in, you have to seat them with a specific girl. They might ask for a girl, you have to make sure she's available, and you have to like give meet their requests and everything. It's really cool.
So store manager is your favorite minigame.
Yeah, I guess
Sounds
so.
more like Pimp is your favorite.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what these host clubs are.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it's really cool, and I haven't given that series as much time as I would like. Like I'm still working through Kiwami, honestly, but like everything about like those characters of that fiction, like I was really into it with Zero, and Kiwami already has me pretty interested too. So and there's like 6 games and like a 7th on the way. So yeah, I'm definitely playing through that series. But if it weren't for if it weren't for Zero, I wouldn't have been as invested in the story and these characters as I am. I strongly recommend everybody play that game.
I played like maybe that's the only game in the series that I've played, but I've only played maybe 3 hours of it,
Yeah,
and I liked what I played. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe.
yeah. I don't think it's for everybody, but like I think that if like there are elements of that kind of that game that I think will speak to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing it and getting up to like the latest game. Finishing Kiwami, I mean, and getting up to the latest game. But yeah, Yakuza 0 is pretty fucking rad, and
So,
play it if you haven't.
yeah, sorry about missing my turn, but I was just gonna say Kingdom Hearts. We all knew it was gonna come out, so might as well
Sure.
just say it now.
That's okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's been since PS2, since a numbered game came out. Um, I think that, of course, like there is complaints about it, and I think there are some valid complaints, but I think it is an amazing game in the series. I think it does the franchise justice. I think if you liked all the other games, you will like this game. And
I mean, I think the thing to remember is we're talking about our favorite games, right?
Yeah.
Not what everybody's favorite game is or what the best game is. So
Yeah.
if you like Kingdom Hearts 3, good.
yeah, it was more of that good boy goodness that I loved about the other series. I
Yeah.
loved like seeing what's going on. I love seeing the final installment of the I'm sure they're calling it like Darkbringer series or on that. I
Does it feel
I
like
think
there's closure?
I feel like there is. Like
Yeah.
I feel like there is a lot of ways that they can keep going on with the story. I feel like
I'm sure they
there
will.
are
But
no, they will. They just have said
yeah.
that this is the last of like this series with like Sora and Xehanort.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to go from with this franchise to other things. I think that even having a new like villain keeping Sora or going on to any of the other people, I
Mhm.
I there are still like a lot of questions that I want to know, like what is this thing? Like why did this happen in this like cross union game? Like who is the master of masters? What is in this fucking trunk? Like I want to know certain things.
I want to
Uh
know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Is it
yeah,
Mickey?
so
Is he in the trunk?
no.
Oh.
No, because you see Mickey as a student, as a pupil.
Oh.
Yin
Look in
Sid
the
is his
trunk.
is Yin Sid is his Keyblade master. But yeah, no, like there's a lot of things about the Keyblade history and stuff I want to know, and I feel like I feel good about where they left the story off, and I am very excited about where they go next with it.
Yeah.
And I think for that reason alone, like would make this one of the best games of this generation for me is like. But I also think it's like not best, but I guess like favorite. But I think even if it was like kind of shitty, which I don't think it was.
Right.
Maybe it was. I think that just because it is the final installment and I've been waiting for 3 for so long, it would
Yeah.
have to be my favorites list. Just because it is something that's more Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, dude. I can think of very few franchises that I hold close that I've been waiting that long for, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
also,
that's
I mean, like,
really cool.
you waited a long time for Last Guardian and then didn't play it.
I almost, like, I beat that game several times. Didn't
Oh, I didn't
play
say you
it.
didn't play it.
No, dude, I beat the hell out of that game.
Yeah, he killed it.
Oh,
Yeah.
murderer.
The only thing of Last Guardian I ever played was that VR demo.
And as a matter of fact, I need to put that on this list.
Well, we can just talk about it now because
Yeah.
otherwise our lists are going to be from how long we're describing each game. It's just going to be a forever long episode.
That's okay. It's a long episode.
Yeah.
Get over it, Shanae. You don't
Yeah.
have anywhere to be.
Yeah. Do you have anywhere to be today?
I got some pizza to eat before
Hey, you can
Before
check
the-
out whenever you need to.
Yeah,
Okay?
man.
the POW wakes up and then destroys it.
Look, The Last
Uh,
Guardian was very divisive, and you know, I think very
I mean,
much like
what
very
way?
much like Kingdom Hearts 3, because there were outlets that gave it Game of the Year and outlets that tore it apart, you know. But
Yeah.
I love that game, man. Ueda is a fucking genius, man. Like, his games are for the most part about companionship, and like, it's interesting because it feels like Call of the Wild and White Fang mixed together, and like and just having that AI is like just strangely believable, very strangely believable. I don't know. That's just a fantastic game.
You're talking about the AI for Trico, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Uh,
Pokemon.
yeah. Um. Yeah, I remember like, and granted, like I get that this is like by no means like the same experience, but I remember when I played that VR demo, I was definitely like really impressed by like the way that thing moved and like the way it reacted to things, and it just and like even like there are times where like it would do something where like it was about to like jump a gap and it would like hesitate for a second and
Yeah.
make sure that it could make it, and it was really neat.
And I know like a lot of people don't like the fact that he makes controls the way that he does, and a lot of people can find those controls to be frustrating. But like, I love that he does that shit, man.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a lot of really good things about Last Guardian. Never played it, so like, but the way that you and other people talk about it makes me want to play that game.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Also, like oddly creepy. You know?
Yeah, I need
There's
to
some
play it
weird-
so I can find out what's in those barrels.
Yeah.
I want to find out what's in those
Yeah.
barrels. I heard that learning the content of those barrels is unsettling. So
It is.
I'm looking forward to
Is
that.
is it humans? Are
Well,
humans in the barrels?
don't answer the question, Tom. Don't answer
Yes
the
or no?
question.
Is there dead human bodies in those barrels?
Don't answer the question, Tom. I haven't played the game. I don't want to be spoiled. You can just text her.
What?
Sure.
Um,
All
and
right.
then
What
what
do you
about
got,
you,
Ryan?
Ryan?
All right. So I have this here Hellblade, Sinuous Sacrifice. So I didn't play the game right away, but when I actually sat down and finally gave that game my time, I didn't put it down until I was finished. That game does so much with relatively so little, and makes like I think that one of the things that I've talked about every time I brought that game up is the sound design in that game, and like especially like when you play that game with headphones and you hear the voices in Senua's head like on both sides of you, and like they're just say sometimes doubting you, other times taunting you, other times encouraging you, and like sometimes all of those at the same time, and it just makes for like an experience like I've never had, like an unsettling experience like I've never had. I think Senua as a character is just very interesting. She was very well acted, and it was. I think one of the things that I had dealt with a lot was like there were times where like Senua like seemed like increasingly desperate, and like you could like through that performance you could like feel it, and like especially like in the later parts of the game, like she just seems like so fucking desperate and like just almost to the point of panic, and it's really really great. And I don't think that I've been able to bring myself to play that game a second time, just because of just like I feel
How
like
intense it is?
it's very, for me it was very intense. I don't think that everybody else had that experience, but like for me I found that game to be like very intense. But god damn if that game's not well made. Yeah, I like that game a lot.
I like Hellblade a lot. The interesting thing about it is like, Melina Juergen's performance as Senua was really good, especially considering the fact that like it was made on an old school budget, right? Like
Yeah.
this is, I think, their community manager. Like this is
Yeah.
her first time acting,
Yeah.
right? And that's the way it was with like PS2 games,
Yeah.
but they didn't act like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. My biggest problem with Hellblade is like my own fault, right? I followed this game's development for like a year
Yeah.
before it ever launched. And sometimes seeing how the sausage is made, like, really does sully your experience.
Yeah.
I love that game. It's fantastic, it really is. But like, it's hard to play it and not look at the things that
Yeah.
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 No, that makes sense.
It's one of those times. I do think that there are.
And I think it's too easy. It should have been a harder game.
Oh, you could make it a harder game.
Uh,
Talking about your dick.
Oh, sure.
Sure.
I'm gonna do that in a little bit, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's like there are definitely times where I think like there is such a thing as having too much information, and
Yeah.
I think that's definitely one of those times. But again, I actually remember saying that I felt like that game to me was the most important game that came out that year. And I still believe that very much. Maybe one day I'll play it again, or I'll just play the sequel.
Yeah. My next game is Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah, baby.
I love that game. I still love that game. Part of me is almost mad at Animal Crossing for taking up so much of my time, because every time I see it on my little Switch dashboard, I'm like, I should play that game. But I'm like, but my flowers need watering, so
Sure.
no. But
What about
like,
the flowers
I also,
of friendship though?
Yeah.
Those need watering
I already
too.
I already maxed out all my friendship.
Yeah, me too.
And I think so. I don't know. I just I never finished my fourth playthrough of it. I finished 3 of them, so
I
I
mean,
never
saying
finished-
that says a lot, right?
Yeah.
I never finished my 4th playthrough. Like, you played a lot of that game.
oh yeah, like, especially since this isn't like a short game.
Right.
There's like, well, besides one route, there's only like one ending for each of them, besides just failing. And I don't know. I think that once I start slowing down, and once I get to my island to where like I'm happy with it, I feel like I'm gonna go back to Fire Emblem. Like there's so many games I want to try out. Like I want to do that like neighbor game on the Switch where you like find out what's in your neighbor's basement because they're being all creepy.
Yikes.
I think it's like Hello Neighbor or like
Oh, you don't
Leave
want to play
Neighbor.
that bullshit.
That guy's my friend.
I'm mad now.
That guy's my friend. Shanae,
Well, I'm still gonna
if you are intrigued by Hello Neighbor, then play Hello Neighbor. Don't let Tom tell you what not to play. If you
That's true.
want to play Hello Neighbor, then
That's
check out Hello Neighbor.
Yeah,
Follow
there's
it
like
up with some Borderlands.
no. Well, I still need to get Pokemon. I love Pokemon. I was like trying to go through my Switch and like figure out what I wanted because I have some stuff on like my wish list or
You
things
didn't
that
get
like I have.
Pokemon yet? What?
That seems
No, I haven't
that
got-
seems weird.
Wow.
I know it's weird. Like I know, but
Ugh.
Use some of that Trump money.
Yeah. What'd you do with your stimulus check?
I put it into savings. I still need to play Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of games I still need to play, but like Animal Crossing.
Sure. I mean, if you're having fun with Animal Crossing, then you're saving money, man.
Yeah,
True.
I'm
I'm penniless.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm a peasant.
Yeah.
But no, but like seriously, like Fire Emblem, I like a lot of the Persona aspects into it. I'm also just gonna throw out there anyways. Persona 5, like of course, like but to be fair, like I don't really have a lot of other Persona experience to compare it to.
You don't
but
need other Persona experience, man.
But from what I've heard, it's like it's very comparable to like a lot of but a lot of the changes in Fire Emblem are very Persona-like in Persona 5 as far as the days and things like that.
Yeah.
And
For
I
sure.
don't know, I just like I played other Fire Emblems and none of them have got me like this one did. The
Yeah.
characters are super endearing. I like a lot of the like different aspects of the gameplay, but it doesn't feel like too much. I don't feel like my ADD is pulling me 17 different ways where I'm like, I need to do all these things.
Mhm.
It's all it's structured
It's
in a
manageable.
way. Yeah, it's structured in a way that I think leaves open opportunities open to change how you want to play it. But also, like if you don't want to put that much thought into it, it's still very easily playable where goals are attained.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I need to play that game.
it's so good. Yeah.
I'm about to buy that bitch again because I heard about the changes they made in Royal, and I'm like, that
Oh,
sounds.
I thought you meant
Oh,
Fire
we were
Emblem.
talking about Fire Emblem Three
Oh, I
Houses.
thought I heard you say Persona 5.
Yeah,
She was
I
just
was gonna shut up.
comparing the
Oh,
The
my
changes
bad.
in
there.
the changes
I
in Fire Emblem 3 to Persona
I
changes.
guess like
Just being Persona
I got
like.
distracted because Sinead, when you're talking, like out of a sudden, like as you've been talking, I've been hearing like another voice saying what you're saying as you're saying it, and it's been really creeping me out. And I don't know what's going on. It sounds like a demon,
Are you
Is it?
Senua?
not a raging demon, but it's there. Oh well.
That's just me. That's just what I really sound like. I've
Oh
been
sure,
masking my voice this
my
entire time.
my true voice.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
I'm
last
really a demon. It's why I'm so terrible.
last Fire Emblem I really got into was Awakening.
I
But
like Awakening,
I
and I
definitely
like
want to
this
play
much
this one,
more. And I
which
think that
says a
you'll,
lot because I loved Awakening. But
yeah, but didn't you need like a second part to Awakening? Like I remember getting like super into it, and there being like a,
no, you're thinking of the one after Awakening that
oh,
had
I
like
am.
3 different games, which people thought Three Houses was going to be 3 different games, but it wasn't. No.
No, yeah, I remember there also being. I didn't get into it. I think that maybe I didn't play the other one. I don't know. Not the point. The point is though, Three Houses, fantastic. Love
Sure.
it. It's one of my favorites. When I see it on my screen, I'm sad I'm not playing it, but other things have my attention.
You'll go back to it one day.
You might, Rabbit. You might.
Like like an abusive ex. You'll be back to it.
Yikes. Next game. Next game. Please.
Sorry.
Jesus, Shanae.
Is it me? Is it
Yes?
Ryan?
I think.
It's Tommy.
Yeah, it's you, Tom.
Okay. Let's see. Well, I guess I have to say Nier Automata. You guys know I love
Of
that
course.
shit.
Yeah.
Just all around. That's a very very my kind of game. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the combat's awesome. The gameplay's awesome.
The robot's
It
sexy.
needs more
sto-
fighting game aspects for it to be the quintessential Tom game, but it's close.
Well, no, because if you think about like that sort of combat system, you know, Bayonetta, right? DMC, like it is very fighting game ish. You know.
I'm just
Um,
I'm just saying if you throw a Hadouken and a Ryu in there, like I feel like it'd
Sure.
be perfect Tom game.
But yeah, the story, man, that story's awesome. It's the only video game, and I'm not going to say exactly what it is because it's a heavy spoiler for that game. But like, it's the only video game that allows you to do something for a real world person that I can think of, you
Yeah.
know, and that's pretty neat. It's just so fantastic. The fucking music, Keiji Okabe and Emmy Evans. Let's talk about this music for a second, okay?
Okay.
Like,
That's another episode.
no, it's not. Like, the songs are written in like a believable way, in where like it's this fusion of genres, right? So it sounds like genres that don't exist yet because they don't, but like you could see music evolving to that,
Yeah.
right? And then Emmy Evans has this chaos language, which she came up with it in a previous game, right? But like, it's a combination of many real world languages, and like that's how language is actually born, right? And that's
Yeah.
how language is made. So like thousands of years from now, there very well could be language like
Very well.
that, you know?
Yeah.
And like that's just such an interesting thing to do for such a small percentage of a game.
Yeah.
And the whole game does that, you know? It's fucking nuts.
That game seems really cool. I haven't given it. I've played such a small portion of that game, but I really would like to finish it because I want to. I remember watching you play through, like, because I remember you were cleaning up some of the trophies for that game, and you were just like getting like the endings that you hadn't gotten yet. So I remember watching you do a few of those, and like I remember watching it and I was like, man, this game goes places. This game gets
It really does.
This game
man.
gets nuts, and I really want to see where it goes.
But it's like everything though, right? Like meaningful side quests. My
Yeah.
biggest slam on Borderlands pre-sequel, right, is the bullshit side quest. And like every fucking side quest is like it blows your mind. You can sit and think for hours about what one fucking NPC says to you, you know?
Yeah.
That's really weird, but it's
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah.
It looks to be a very well made game, and I'm looking forward to actually giving it
Yeah.
more of my time. But
All right, what game you got, Ryan?
so I got Dying Light on here.
Hmm.
So I remember I got to play, like Tom and I got to play this at PAX South, like I think the year it came out, and I remember like, in the little time that I spent with it, I was like, that was cool. Maybe I'll see how it turns out. And then I remember buying it, and I was like, whoa, this game is actually pretty rad. So, if you don't know, Dying Light is a game where, with a heavy emphasis on like environment traversal and killing zombies for the most part. But like it's just really cool because I've not played a first person game where I haven't played many. I should say I haven't played many first person games where the environments were that fun to navigate. Especially when we're talking about like an open world first person game. Like, like we have the Far Cry games, which are, open world, but the world isn't that interesting to navigate. Like you drive from one place to another, or you fast travel or whatever. But it's just really fun in Dying Light to like climb over buildings and jump over gaps and just do all this other crazy shit that she can do. And it's just really neat. And like also like the weapon crafting is fun, and like seeing all the different things you can put together. I think by the time I finished the game, I had like 3 different kinds of machetes that all did different status effects, and
Oh yeah. That was cool.
yeah, and it was cool because the developer support is still supporting that game. Like they're still putting out shit for that game.
They
And
have to because the new one's never gonna happen.
yeah, I guess that's true. But like it's just like they have so much fucking content for that game, but like it's just that game to me is like just endlessly fun. And it's one of the few games that I think like, cause I remember as a kid, like zombie shit used to just scare me so bad. And then as I got older, like it didn't really have an effect on me. And I think this is like the first zombie game that I've played in a while that had something in it that had like an element that scared me.
When you're being chased at night.
Yeah, that shit. Oh my god, dude. So like
that is pretty creepy. It's pretty creepy.
so scary, like because like your field of vision is just like so like small. Like they make sure that it just feels like you can barely see anything around you. And this crazy super powered zombie thing like will chase after you, and it's not, and like unlike like the regular zombies, it can climb up on shit, it could jump, it could run really fast. And like so there are often times where you are finding yourself running away from it because it's really, I don't know that it's really viable to try to fight it. And you have a like all like those zombies are sensitive to UV light. So you've got this UV flashlight, and as you're being chased, you can turn around and flash him in the face with it. But it's just so fucking scary because when you turn around, like he's like right on your heels, and it's intense, and such. It's a fun kind of scary that I really enjoy. But overall, the game is just really, really well made, and just like it's just fun to run around in that world, even after you finish the main game, and just like clean up like trophies or whatever. It's really neat. The story is it's dumb, but it serves as a good enough vehicle to move you through from place to place. I hope the second one happens at some point, but
I mean, it looked far in development.
yeah, it looks pretty much done, but
it was already supposed to be out.
Yeah,
and this
but
is also the team that delays games until they don't exist.
yeah, so we'll see. But the Dying Light that does exist at this point is really awesome. I have a hard time watching people play it because like
It's not how you would play it.
well no, it's not that. It's just like when you're not in control of what they're doing, like it's really easy to like feel like kind of queasy because there's like a lot of rolling around and jumping and like it's just a lot. But yeah, it's a very good game. I like that game a lot.
So as far as goes, I'd say Nightshade on the Switch. I think it's an Otome game. It's one of the better Otome games that I've played this generation. If we're gonna include mobile games or like mobile ports over to other consoles.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so on there, like it's nothing that's like not been done before. It's another samurai Otome game. Like it's less intense than I feel like Hikuiki is. And I don't know. I just like when I was in a funk and I hadn't played a new Otome game in forever, like I just kept replaying the same ones that I already owned because I loved them and I knew they were good. Like I knew that this was like a good story. And I have the memory of a goldfish, so sometimes it was like playing it for the first time and I'm like, oh yeah, this happened in there. And it was like fun, nostalgic, but like it's one of the newer ones that I played that I was like, man, I didn't waste my money on this.
Yeah.
Like, which is how I felt with a lot of Otome games. I just like it's like, oh, this game is bullshit. Got it. Thanks, Otome game. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Or
Not enough Garfield.
Yeah, and I liked all the like each character had two endings. A lot of times there's characters that like only will have like one ending, but like the main character will have like four or whatever, the like canon character that they're supposed to end with or something like that. And I don't know, I felt like a lot of games that you feel like, oh, this is the canon character, but like a lot of times in Nightshade, I felt like there was no like canon character.
Yeah.
Even though I know that there is. But I didn't feel that way, which always feels good to not feel like you're picking the person with the lesser story they just give a fuck about. So they're just like, yeah, I know this is a guard. I don't give a shit. But yeah, Nightshade was pretty good. I'd say it's one of my favorites.
That's a cool one.
What about you?
So like with games like that, like, is it the story that gets you? Like, is it only the story, or is it like? Because you know, with like a
Visuals
lot
and
of
story.
you know, like with a lot of Otomes, like it's some stock background image, right? You know, like that always puts me off. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it has to be with all the amount of like not has to be, but it has to be for the price point with all of the conversation and options that you have and things going on with that. Nightshade doesn't do as good as the company Chariots that I talk about their games a lot, of giving the MC a personality. But I did feel like I had more of one in Nightshade than I did with games.
Yeah.
But it's like it is visual. Of course, if I'm gonna have to look at the same picture for like an hour, I want it to be a good picture.
Right.
And then of course, like also the story, where I feel like there is going to be with every Otome game, especially if you play all of the routes, there's going to be a lot of repeat. It's just what's going to happen. It's not like there's very few Otome games out there where you're not seeing the same like blocks of dialogue that keep the story going. Like there's a lot of the ones that were like your pets become humans and they're hot guys and they want to date you. There's only so many like
My Horse Prince.
Right.
Yeah, where you see a horse as a beautiful man and no one else does, and he chops leeks in the creepiest way, but you love it.
Yeah.
But like there's going to be things that where there's story markers, you can tell where all of the stories kind of hit the same beats in there, at least to a certain point normally. Like the first like if we're gonna put it in chapters, normally the first 5 to like 10 chapters, depending how long of a game it is, are going to be generally the same, but mix out certain instances with another character. You're going to find these pets, like it's like if they're pets, and you're going to take them into your home. You're going to take care of them, feed them. You're going to be a sad girl, and then something magical one night is going to turn them into hot dudes. Like that's just going to be the same beats no matter what storyline you pick. And so those are gonna be the same. But I like Nightshade. I did feel like there was a lot of differences as far as the characters you go. You also see different areas depending on which character you pick, which I always like because a lot of games they have it where no matter what character you pick as your main boo, that like you see them in the same area, and it's just a different person in the same background.
Yeah.
And so it's always nice to have that variety to where you feel like each route that you go through is a special like thing, and that you feel like your character is different with each character. So a lot of times it just feels like you're because they are trying to like have it where you can impart personality or imagine it how you want. So they don't try to dictate it too much, since it's just a fantasy of you dating these hot people. Um, but like I feel like Nightshade threw in some good things in there. Didn't reinvent
So,
anything, but well done.
so there's this fighting game series I like a lot called Under Night In-Birth, and
Hmm.
I kind of want to give you like access to my PSN so that you can play it, because like the story mode for that game is literally just reading. You know, it's basically
Yeah.
VN, like it's all VN. You know,
I, I,
fucking
I, that's my
hours
favorite
of
kind
it,
of fighting
right?
game.
Hours and hours of it, and like, while I love the game, I have no idea what's going on with the story because I don't want to read all of that.
Oh, I'm a super
But
fast reader, so like,
yeah,
yeah,
but yeah,
that's my
that's good.
shit.
Um, so there's this game called Dusk. I think that for
Okay.
me, Dusk
For
is
you.
the best
Ooh.
first-person shooter, single-player first-person shooter, I should say, in probably the past 20 years, in my opinion. And it kind of makes sense, right? Because it's a throwback game. It's supposed to feel like old shooters. It feels kind of like a mix between Unreal and Quake. Uh, but like, fuck, man, it just like it feels so much better than anything new, and even anything that new that tries to feel old, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels better than Doom. It feels better than Wolfenstein. You know, uh,
Well,
I
it's
don't
Duke
know.
Nukem 3D.
That's old. That's actually old. but
Yeah.
but you know, like it feels better than the new versions of those games. Obviously, the production value is not there. Obviously, the visuals for Doom are better. The visuals for Wolfenstein are better. You know, the mission structure is better in especially in Wolfenstein than in Dusk, right? But like, if you're looking for a linear single player first person game with old school sensibilities, you know, with things like strafe jumping, uh, you know, and it controls in such a way that they decline to release it on consoles, right? Because you can't do that with a controller. Uh, it's just fantastic. It's awesome.
Super awesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Ryan?
Uh, so speaking of Wolfenstein, I have Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus on here, and so I love the fuck out of that game, man. So I think that one of the things about the new Wolfenstein games is that I think a lot of developers are reticent to release a first-person shooter that doesn't have a multiplayer mode. Um, because I think that a lot of times it's believed that a game won't sell well or catch on its own without it. But uh, the reboot of the Wolfenstein franchise is just they're both of those games. Well, I guess all three of those games are all single player games, but they're just so
See, there's
good.
like four of them bitches now.
Yes,
Five technically.
yeah. It's because you got that VR one too.
Cyber Pilot, yeah.
Yeah. But man, I think that there are a couple of things that really impressed me about the reboot of this series, and I think first and foremost is I have never until playing that first game
I have never.
cared about BJ Blazkowicz. Just never. I never cared about him as a character. He was just the guy holding the gun, and that was it. But like they gave him depth and personality, and like just made him just a really great character, a really sympathetic character, especially in New Colossus. Like when it deals with like because I think New Colossus. Um, Go ahead, Tom.
No, it's nothing.
Okay. I think New Colossus is it like continues with you like like of course like you're killing more Nazis and everything, but like then it explores like a lot of the shit behind like uh about like exactly what is wrong about being a Nazi, like as if you need that spelled out. But like
Some people do.
it actively it engages with like like the hatred and the racism behind the Nazi regime, and then the characters that BJ meets, like especially like this like the remnants of like this of this Black Panther group who like joins up with him and like to fight the Nazis. It's just really really like the story is just really cool, and like the story like also goes like so like BJ's past like into his childhood and like dealing with like all the shit with his like really shitty dad and everything, and it's just
Fuck shitty dads.
like seriously. But
I
yeah,
mean, don't they don't need any more
yeah,
kids.
don't fuck your dad. But but the I never thought that a first person shooter of any kind could have a story beat that made me tear up, and this game did it twice in like two different parts, and it's just it was like I talk about like what I felt like Half-Life did for storytelling and first person shooters, and I feel that like at present in like modern in the modern age of video games, I think that Wolfenstein has done for me now. Wolfenstein 2 did for me now what Half-Life did for me 20 years ago. And on top of that, like if nothing else, shooting Nazis in that fucking game is just fun. Like they just made shooting
Just
Nazis
good old fun.
it's just fun. Like there's never like, don't get me wrong, I'm always down to shoot some Nazis, but shooting Nazis in this game is especially good. So yeah, I really like New Colossus a lot.
So this last game I had on my list, God of War, the new, I guess, relaunch of the franchise with the Viking themes. I honestly, if they shadow drop this, like, the new like God of War like tomorrow, then
Mhm.
I would drop Animal Crossing in a heartbeat. That's how much I really am excited about the new game. Like, I really want to play it. I I really like mythology. Like, it just ticked all the boxes for me. Like that the original series did when I first encountered it. Because I feel like I think I only started playing God of War 1 like a little bit before God of War 2 came out. So I
Yeah.
didn't really have to wait on those. And I don't know, it just like ticks some boxes as far as like things I like. Just gratuitous violence, sexiness.
It's funny. It's funny, Sinead, because like based on like the games that like I always hear you talking about playing, I never thought that like any game the God of War series or franchise would be like your thing. But
I mean, I used to play a lot of first person shooters. I mean, I play a lot of MMOs, like in a
Yeah.
lot of different varieties
yeah,
as far as that goes.
You did the
I
God of
also,
War deep dive though, man. Like you got into that shit.
yeah, no, um, it's a game that's not very hard, and as somebody who's bad at games,
sure.
loved it for that reason. Uh, and but also just like I don't know, if something like checks any of my interest box, I'm like, yeah, no, that's my shit. And sometimes it's disappointing and I end up being wrong, but God of War did not. Like, it was such, I think it was really, really well made. Like, if they're going to take that franchise and quit the numbering system, restart it over, give them a new theme, Angry Dad in in Norse mythology is a great way to go.
Sure.
Like, I love it. I love it.
We
Like,
need
I
more
love,
angry dads.
I mean, he's an angry dad who cares.
Sure.
Sure.
He seems
He's
to.
I mean, it's a really shitty kid. I don't blame him for being so angry. Like, uh, it's not like he has a lot of like good parental representation. But anyways,
Yeah.
but no, I really like when we played Jotun. I really like that. I really like Greek mythology. I like Nordic
Man, I forgot
mythology.
about that game. That game was sweet.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, no, as far as if you're going to relaunch a new series, I'm down for it with the God of War. They did it right.
Sure. You're down
Add that
with
new
sickness.
camera angle in. Oh,
I should play that.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, it gets two chef's kisses. Wow. Um, yeah. So I don't. I think you might have finished it before I did, Shanae. But
Oh, I did. I came over to your place and you were playing it because you were
yeah,
streaming it at the time. And I was
yeah.
like, no, go here, do this.
Oh,
And
that's
you weren't
right.
doing it.
um, yeah. The game is actually very cool. Um, I had a lot of fun with like I didn't I always thought well, Kratos without the Blades of Chaos he can't do that, but like that
They're
axe is,
there.
that axe is, man, that axe is fun to swing
That's a
around.
good axe.
That's a
That's
good axe. That's a good axe.
And like, and the weight of the axe versus when you do get the Blaze of Chaos, I feel like changes. So
Yeah,
it does feel it feels very weighty when you play the axe, and it feels definitely more loose whenever you play with the Blades of Chaos. And
Yeah.
I like as you played it, there was a very like marked difference in
Yeah.
the two weapons, and I really liked that. I didn't feel like, okay, well, so this is just another way to do this with this thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it just felt very different.
Like like I liked like moving around in that world too, like especially like once you get in the boat and Kratos is telling
Yeah.
Atreus stories and like
I love that.
yeah, it's really cool. And yeah, I think that game did a lot of really neat things, and I'm interested to see where they take it. After the events of that game.
More gods.
But man, like Kratos, like he doesn't yell as much in this one, but man, the moments where he does yell, that's some good yelling. He got some good yelling.
Oh, then Atreus is being a fucking dumbass. He's just Atreus.
Well, no, that's another thing too. Is that like I'm a sucker for like contextual audio in video games, and like when you're fighting a monster or monsters, like sometimes like when Atreus like yells like things like hey, like behind you, or watch out for that magic or whatever. Like it's just
Or when he's reloaded.
yeah, it's like
lets you
it's
know.
really cool. Like I like that stuff like really immerses me. So like I thought that was like a really like it's one of
That's
those
a good
things.
all the small things.
It's yeah,
That's a good all the
because
small
it's definitely it's one of those things that are like if they didn't include it, I would not have noticed. But like it was cool that they put that in there.
It's
Because
one of the few games I haven't put on my own music and then just muted it for.
yeah, I think that and
You're a monster. I never do that.
Oh, I do it all the time. I do it all the time. Like we already talked about it. I'm so bad at. I had to stop doing it with Animal Crossing in some instances because I found out there is like audio clues for some things. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, fuck. I just keep the audio off because I don't want to hear that same
I'm
KK
lying.
Slider
I do
song.
it sometimes.
he does it sometimes.
Rarely.
I do,
But
I do it all the time. But
I do it
no,
with fighting
and then
games.
so my biggest complaint about God of War is the fact that he calls Atreus boy all the time, and I feel very racist when I quote it or talk about that.
Yeah,
But it is just
Yeah.
a quote from
Sure.
the game,
Sure.
so I don't a lot when I'm making jokes. I normally say Atreus. I mean, before like with you guys, I'll say boy, but like with like friends I don't know very well, and it, like I just like even though I know they played the game, I still feel very awkward saying it. And
Yeah.
I
I
feel
call
like as far
my
as
son boy.
yeah. Just don't call your black friends boy, Shanae. You're gonna be fine.
yeah, I just like it still makes me feel very uncomfortable.
Well,
That's
And that's my
really
own,
That is very
and that's
funny.
just like that's just my own personal thing.
That's my
and I
game
feel like-
generation now.
I
Because
mean,
of how it makes you
well,
feel.
Shanae, I could see you treading lightly now, especially now that you're still reeling from the Monchichi scandal.
That is true. That is true.
It's not racist. I mean, I wasn't racist for liking them. Anyways, but yeah, no. I feel like
I mean, I don't know
the
that that's for
biggest
you to
complaint
say.
about the
Oh my god. I
What?
forgot all about that shit.
Oh man.
Wow.
game. What did you name that episode? Cheech and Chong.
No, I called it come on, Cheech.
But yeah,
I'm gonna have to
besides,
go back to that.
Yeah.
if that's my biggest complaint about this game, or my only complaint, I feel like it's a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
It just sometimes seems so racist, even though it's not. I'm just quoting like if I'm quoting like a line from the game, like whenever he's like getting on the boat, he's like, "Oh, tell me the rest of the family." He's like, "Come on, boy."
It's just Shanae just drowning in white guilt. All right.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, 100%. It's all of my white ancestors making me feel guilty as fuck.
Sure. Well, just live in that. You'll be
I
fine.
do. I do. But yeah,
Okay,
that's not the last game I had on my list.
Baba is You.
Oh
All
yeah, of
right.
course. Great game.
So
So different.
I played this with my children and with my niece and with my sister and with my brother-in-law.
No white
I
guilt?
can't remember the last time I played a game with that many people. You
Yeah.
know? Uh,
You don't know
fuck,
Jack?
man, it's so cool. Baba You is so fucking cool. Like,
You made me download it, and I've told a bunch
you,
of people at my work about it.
yeah,
No one's complained about it so far.
there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it, and they support it like crazy. And I got stickers and shirts, and like, it's just such a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that like the whole like the upturning of the whole like puzzle game is the solution is I don't know, it's hard to like put into words like what that game is really, because like the verbalizing the solution, like moving like and like moving things around like to like change what the solution. I don't know. It's hard to. I'm having trouble articulating it, but
Yeah.
like moving different objects around to like change what the solution of the puzzle actually is, and like doing things like that.
Right.
That's really neat. And
Like, Baba is You. It's the only game on my list, and really, even of the games you guys have named, like, I can't think of another game like that game. You know,
Yeah.
all of these other games, I could think of games that came before Sense that were similar. You know,
sure.
and like, yeah, there's other push block games, but like, it's very reductive to look at Baba is You as that. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes it's
Uh.
a push word game or push rock game.
What about you, Ryan? What's next on your list?
So I have Mortal Kombat 11 on here.
Not surprising.
Sure. So
Well, I mean, just like we all have games that we dig on, and we
Yeah.
talk about a lot.
So it's the the second Mortal Kombat game that came out this generation, and it is it does so much shit right, with very few missteps.
So much right.
Yeah, I would actually give it. I'm gonna what, 2 chef's kisses to that game. The game it just feels solid to play, and the roster that they picked out for the game. Even like I was talking to Tom the other day on another recording about how I feel about like the guest characters in that game, and like
I'm sorry, I lost you for a second. How you felt about what?
the guest characters in the game.
Yes, yes.
About like
Yes.
it's just like it is what it is. But I think that the game is just so well balanced, and it just it's definitely slower than its 2 predecessors. When I say 2 predecessors, I mean like since the reboot happened. But at the same time, it feels good to play. I think that it does a really good job with kind of introducing itself to you as far as the mechanics of the game, and introducing some like kind of like basic concepts of fighting games in general. Like it's not as in depth as it's not as in depth as a Guilty Gear, but it gives you some basic concepts of how to like read frame data and figuring out like what moves are safe and unsafe and shit like that. And on top of that, it's just the playing that game competitively, against other people is it's just really fun, and like matches online generally feel pretty good. Every once in a while, you might get like someone on Wi-Fi and it sucks, but like overall, it's just like
Fucking idiots.
it just feels really good. I have some, I definitely have some gripes with that game. I talked to Tom about it, and like that game has like it has a very specific focus on competition play. Like it acknowledges tournaments in like a way that like a lot of other fighting games that I've played don't. But like it has stuff in the game that like I feel would make it more conducive to like staging tournaments. I'm sorry. It lacks things that I feel would make it more conducive. Like it doesn't have like a built-in tournament mode, and people have kind of had to refashion another mode to make it for tournaments. But other than that, like the game is just a really solid fighting game, and I think that I'm really excited to see where they go from here. Um, Especially with I don't know what they're gonna keep if they're gonna keep doing this variation shit with the game. I kind of think that I kind of think that they could do without it, but overall, I think that the game is very very good. Um, and
I think it makes them too much money at this point to abandon it.
yeah, maybe. Um,
Yeah.
Fiduciary duty.
yeah, but I it was one of the first fighting games that I took really really seriously, and I haven't played a lot of it lately because I kind of got a little burned out with a lot of stuff going on with it, but with the community and everything. But that doesn't take away from the fact that that game is really solid and excellent to play, and I'm excited for eventually at some point when I can go to a local competition or play locals with friends or whatever. But yeah, I think it's one of the better fighting games that's come out this generation. And I like it a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
But you, Tom, what's your next one?
Oh God, there's so many left. Let's say, let's go with Splatoon 2.
Cool.
Splatoon 2, other than Modern Warfare 2, or excuse me, Modern Warfare 3, and Team Fortress 2, it's probably the competitive shooter I put the most time into.
Yeah,
Which is weird to think about.
You were always like, man, I gotta go home. I gotta get into the Splatfest. Gotta get the
Yeah.
Splatfest going.
Yeah.
But,
No, for sure. I remember that. I remember those times.
it's just interesting, right? There's I've talked about it a lot in the show that there's a sadness. I have this sadness that game design is just stuck and there's a refusal to evolve. And Splatoon evolves, man. You know, it really does. It evolves in the way that you play, not just in rules, but in your contact with the game. And that comes from the first game, But yeah, it's just great. It's good. It's fun. It feels fresh compared to other shooters.
Yeah.
The community is extremely positive. It's like the most welcoming LGBTQ fucking gaming community that there's ever been. It seems like.
Yeah.
That streamer I was talking about that does the side A side B for Animal Crossing. He got his followers from playing Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
No, it's he's one of the most wholesome streamers I've ever seen, and everything I've seen from that community is nothing but positivity.
Yeah.
Besides the comments about how many people want to fuck the squid.
Well, sometimes sure, but yeah, it's just great. It's great, and it's interesting because when you see these games, and some of them pan out and some of them don't. I can't remember. Fuck, there was some shooter on 3DS. It was a first-party Nintendo shooter. Steam something. I don't remember.
Oh, I know what you're talking. I remember it.
With President Mechs, right?
Oh yeah, I know that game.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
And then there's Splatoon, and then there's ARMS. And what's funny is this is the new generation of Nintendo developers. And what's interesting about that is Nintendo doesn't have a high turnover. Most Nintendo developers are they're there till they retire,
Really?
And it's neat to see this generation of young kids start at Nintendo and see what they're doing. And I feel like it's so much more daring of a shooter than all this other shit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can definitely agree.
And,
Ryan, what do you got next?
so let me see. Okay, I'm gonna go with I'm just gonna knock out all the fighting games I have on here. So Street Fighter V I have on here.
All right.
And so Street Fighter V is interesting, right? Because it's not my favorite Street Fighter. But what I got from playing it has made it very valuable to me. and I don't think it's a bad game by any means. Um, but I've gained so much from playing it, and and just the experience of playing it has been enhanced by like my conversations with Tom and like watching different videos and following different streamers and everything. And like I feel like out of all the fighting games that I've played this generation, that was the one I think I've learned the most while playing Street Fighter Five. And I feel like
That makes sense.
I feel like the game has. I feel like playing it has made me a better fighting game player overall. But it's just like the things that I do like about Street Fighter Five specifically is just like I like the game has like a kind of a sense of impact with like the hits that like is really satisfying to me, and like the flow is something that like I definitely appreciate. Like Tom, I think the other night, I think it was last night, you asked me why I like Samurai Showdown more than I like The Last Blade 2, and you asked me if it was because of like the slower pace. And I think that it does have something to do with it. And I think that Street Fighter V has definitely a more deliberate pace than Third Strike or Street Fighter 4. But
it has a more delayed pace, you know, and that's not an intentional thing. But like that doesn't mean it can't be something that you like. You know?
Yeah, and I just enjoy, and like some of the characters that have come out of it are characters that I really really like. And it's funny because like I used to I remember I myself saying a lot of really negative shit about Kage, but
no, he's dumb as shit.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like that dude. I don't know. I like him. But I don't know. It's just been a really good. That game has been. I think that game has been really good to me. Netcode aside, like I have like a lot of like really good memories and experiences of that game. Like I think that like, especially like during this pandemic shit, like that's been Street Fighter V has been a really good way for me and Tom to like spend time together, and like make dumb jokes, while playing a game. And it's just
I heard a troubling. Today I heard a troubling story about Ryan's childhood while playing Street Fighter V.
Do I want to know?
Ryan, you want to get this out in the open?
I just told. Let me see if I can remember it right. So, like, I remember, like, so while we were playing the other day, me and Tom, I said something about like, I asked Tom if you have cyber sex. If you have cyber sex before you have actual sex, if you're still a virgin, and Tom was like,
yes.
Tom was like, no, I guess not. And then I was like, well,
if there's no penetration,
well, then
as we all know, penetration means that you have sex.
What happened was like, I was like, well, Tom, I guess I lost my virginity when I was like 10. And it was like, you lost your virginity at 10? I was like, yeah, I was talking to those ladies on the internet. It was like, so you lost your virginity to what you believe to be a full-grown woman who was likely an adult man.
Yep.
And I was like, I never thought about that. But a lot of
and
it.
That's why we like Street Fighter V.
Yeah, that's why Street Fighter V is the fighting game of the year for me. No, but it's like it's been like
why it's on your favorite list.
Well, it's like a lot of shit like that is just like, we play the game and like we just like say dumb shit to each other, and like occasionally we will comment on the game itself, but it's just, and I honestly think that like that Street Fighter V is just, I think it's just a fun game. And also the vanilla Street Fighter V main menu music is so fucking cool, and I always, whenever I listen to it, like I boot the game up and I listen to it, and that game gets me so fucking hype. I love it. But yeah, Street Fighter V is great.
So I have 0 fighting games on my list for this console generation. While there are fighting games this generation that I do like quite a bit, there's not a single fighting game this generation that I like more than previous generation fighting games. Sure. And that sucks. Yeah. What Remains of
Yeah.
Edith Finch? You guys know I love this game.
Yeah.
We all
Uh,
do. We all
Giant
played it.
Sparrow. It's like I feel like it's what a walking simulator should strive to be now.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah.
feel like any of them have come close to that sense. And like Giant Sparrow, they're just geniuses, man. They're really neat. Like it's such a neat game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
They
I
give.
feel like at least one of those stories connects with most people.
Yeah.
It's the first game that my daughter and I bonded over, and like if you've played The Unfinished Swan, like that revelation is just like like
Yeah.
it's just super cool. Super cool.
I like the way that I think one of the things that a lot of walking simulators don't do is give you different ways to engage with the story or interact like with the world, and I like that in each of the stories in What Remains of Edith Finch, like you're doing just a subtly different thing, and
Well, sometimes it feels like you're doing the different genres, like when you go into the comic book esque area.
that's what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I feel like it's pretty different.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
I thought you said it. I thought you said it was just barely different.
Right. He said subtly different.
But yeah, that game is something else, man. And I think that every one of those stories that I saw, I think that it stirred a different emotion in me, I think. And I feel like I connected with most of them in like a really cool way. And that's actually a game that like I've recommended to that I've recommended to people that don't even play video games. Because I think it's just like one of those things where it's like, well, like there's a part of me that's like that feels compelled to show people who don't play video games what video games could be, and that's one of those. And it's like, and What Remains of Edith Finch is like always part of that conversation for me.
Well, it's not competitive. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like tugs on the heartstrings. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's
And I feel
really
like
cool.
as long as you were able to move a camera, like as long as you were coordinated enough to use that right stick,
Yeah.
that you can get through that game in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very cool game. So
What else have I got?
So much.
Yeah. So
much
as
more.
you guys may have expected, there are some space games on this bitch.
Oh,
What are you eating, Shanae?
She's eating that
Crackers?
pizza.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, I'm eating pizza. Oh,
That's
Ryan already
rude.
knows.
It's funny that Shanae muted the camera while she ate the pizza, but she did not mute the camera while she was filing her hooves. So.
Well, I didn't think y'all could hear me filing my hooves down.
It's okay.
Now I
the
know.
audio listeners like it.
Now I know. I didn't think my mic was picking it up.
That's all right. We'll find a way to monetize that. So.
Somebody wants it. Look at these beautiful hands.
Yuck. Okay, so okay, I got Elite Dangerous on here, which is a game that you guys know how I feel about it. So I'm just gonna
Hate it.
yeah. I'll give you the short version of this game or my feelings about the game. Just anything. Whenever I play the big thing about space games for me is I need like massive scale. Like that's a really big deal to me. And I think that there are space games that have you just play like 1-star system, and like they give you stuff to do in that 1-star system. But like I like a space game that will give me like a lot of exploration, that I can just go anywhere that I want. And the model of Elite Dangerous, with it being like it's a 1-to-1 representation of the Milky Way galaxy, so there's like a lot of shit to do, or like a lot of places to go. And like even still, I was reading about it recently, and the player base in the 6 years that the game has been out has seen less than 2% of the galaxy, which is like amazing to me. But it's just like there's so many cool things to do in the game. Like you can be a merchant, you can be a bounty hunter, you You just be an explorer. You could be any combination of those. Mine asteroids or whatever you want to do, and it has like
A whaler.
well, I checked the moon and there are no whales there, so.
Sure.
But there's politics for you to engage in, and like.
What are you doing, Sinead?
She's singing the Whalers on the Moon song to herself.
Because I can't see her lips moving, but I can't hear her.
Oh, I didn't realize I was still muted.
You were singing the Whalers on the Moon song, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
no,
I do.
You were right. And I thought you could hear me. I didn't realize I was muted.
I just-
yeah, no, I was
I just-
singing
I-
the Whalers on the moon.
It's just like I know
It's like when you see a TikTok video on mute.
Yeah. Well, see, I know Shanae well enough to know that if you reference a song that she knows, then
Right.
she will
You're
start.
gonna get
She's going to sing it.
She's going to sing it.
But also, that means you know Futurama, so.
Right.
Yeah, which is actually more important. But yeah, the game is it's gorgeous. And there's like all the ships are just they're different in some way, and like each of them like you have to practice flying each one. And the game does have a steep learning curve, especially where combat is concerned, and also landing the ship. But like once you get past that, it's a very satisfying game. And I think, to close it off though, they kind of overhauled a lot of different systems in the game, specifically with in respect to mining, because mining was before like you would just like shoot a mining laser at a rock and just wait for shit to like come to your ship. But like now they're giving you different things to do. Like you can use your mining laser, but there's also like what they call deep core mining, which is like you fire like these explosive charges into the core of the asteroid, and like on like strategic points, and then you like 2 minutes later it explodes in this huge explosion, and it's just really cool to like have little things like that. And I think that Elite Dangerous is definitely for like a very specific kind of person, but I love it, and I love space games, and that's definitely still one of the best ones out there.
Yeah, you've been wild about that game for some time.
Yeah.
So it's been like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So how much left do you have on your list, Tommy?
We've got like an hour left. Let's keep going.
Let's keep going. I have at least two more that I want to mention.
You can
All right,
peace out
if
whenever.
y'all want to keep going, then I'm gonna have to bow out now. Berto, I'm recording this in our bedroom, and he needs to sleep because he has to be at work at 7 a.m.
That's okay.
But
That's okay.
or if we want to, we can wrap it up and say last three for each of y'all.
Last three? Okay, I can do that.
I can do that. I got three. I can pop off real quick.
I can do three.
All right, Ryan, you're first.
Well, I just did one. Go, Tom.
Okay, Inside by
I no,
Playdead.
excuse me. I said Ryan.
How do you?
Inside by Playdead. So Playdead's like the guys that made Limbo, right? And like
Mhm.
Inside and what is that game? Little Nightmares came out around the same time.
Yeah.
And I like Little Nightmares, but fuck, Inside is just so good. It's so good. Like, I don't know what it is. It's just very slightly more detailed than Limbo,
Yeah.
visually, right? Just very slightly more detailed. But it's just so fucking weird.
And it's creepier than Limbo.
And the puzzles are weird. And it really makes you think because, like, with Limbo, they never really said anything. With Inside, they said, yeah, this game is about something. We're not going to tell you what that is. You know?
I don't know why they won't just tell me what it is. Tell me what it's
Uh,
about.
I mean, that's part of the mystery, right? And it's definitely, like, making up your own mind on it. And I know what I think it's about, but, like...
What do you think it's about?
I think it's
Drugs and
about-
butt stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I actually think it's kind of sad. I think it's about like finding safety in community, only to be let down by that. But
That's dire.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
definitely could be wrong.
Yeah.
I definitely could be wrong, but that's what I take from it. But like, it's just such a cool fucking game, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, Tom, what's the next game?
Oh, for me, fuck. PT. PT is
Oh
nuts.
my god.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Oh
Is
my
it its
god.
full game? I thought it was just demo.
Well, okay, it's a playable teaser, right? But it's what we
It
got.
was
It's the
great.
fucking game.
It was great.
It's
I got
freaking
very scared. I was so
fantastic.
scared. So
And you
scared.
know what's neat? Like, I think a lot of these games could have been last gen games. I don't think PT could have been, because of the visuals, right? Because it's just that one hallway. Because that hallway is the only thing that's rendered.
Right.
They could do such a high level of detail with it, and like
And scary stuff. Oh.
it's an argument for visuals in games, for like high fidelity graphics in games. You know, because I think it's only as effective as it is because of how realistic it looks. You know,
Yeah.
I think if that game looked like Outlast, it would still be scary, but like
Yeah.
not nearly on the same level.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
terrifying and nightmare inducing.
yeah.
I told
Yeah, now
I
I can
told
feel that.
I told Tom to tell his kids that ghost lady in that game lived next door.
Yeah, that game made my daughter throw
Did
a
you?
controller.
Wait, did you tell her that?
No,
You
I
should
did
have.
not. I did not. And then
You
what?
should.
I get
You
one
should
more.
try to scar your children.
Okay,
It's a
if
sign
I
of
only
good
get one
parenting.
more, then I'm gonna pick Gravity Rush 2.
All right.
Cool.
Gravity Rush, it's like as a franchise, it feels like a franchise out of time, like out of place, right? Like it feels like something that should have come out in the 90s but never did.
Yeah.
And like they couldn't have made this game in the 90s, you know, but like it's got that weird Sega feel to it.
Like thematically and tonally, it's
Um,
like a '90s game.
Kind of, yeah. And like it's just so cool. It's so good. And like Baba Is You, like yeah, it's an open world game, but there's no open world game like this one, you know. It's really neat. It's really neat. And the characters and the writing is very charming if you're into anime. If you are not, you probably hate this game. But you know, and like the whole like it does the whole like the whole, you know how like a lot of anime likes to like really copy like it's anime but like it's latent, right? So it's Europe, or like
Yeah.
it's anime but it's French, but it's not really French, but it's what Japanese people think French stuff
Yes.
is like, you know.
Yeah.
It's like that, and it's very charming, almost in like a Nino Kuni type of way, you know. Like it's very very cool.
Best
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan. What are your three?
All right, so I got Final Fantasy 15. Man, I
Just
love
good boys being good boys.
that game, man, and I think that like
Just look good old boy.
Just some good boys being good boys.
uh
They're not good old boys. Just good boys.
Yeah.
yeah shit. But no, I like that game a lot, man, and it's there, and I don't know. I think that like I've played a fair number
know.
of Final Fantasy games, but like none of them have really. I never really connected with any of them the way that I connected with this one, and I was never immediately drawn into any of them the way I was with this one. And like I just like I think one of the things that like I have a few things that always get me, and one of the things is like stuff with best friends. And the whole time these guys are just being best friends and looking out for each other, and it's very sweet. And like even though Noctis is kind of being a bummer because his dad,
It's a big old bummer. Yeah.
because he's sad about his dad, but then he comes around and like he's just being like, and like they're all just being like there for each other, and like, and also like on top of that, like the game is just fun to play. Like the game is incredibly easy to play, but like at the same time, like it's still fun. It's great to look at, and like doing things in the world, like the fishing is fun. Like just driving around in the world is fun. Like taking pictures of different things is like really cool, and like finding the chocobos and all of that stuff is just really
The triggerers.
yeah, sure. And like like all that stuff is like just really really awesome. And I know that like a lot of Final Fantasy purists will like kind of shit on that game for one reason or another, but like for my time, like that's the one that I like the most.
Nice.
I really like that game a lot. I
What
also
else?
I also have Spider-Man on here.
Spider-Man. Okay.
Spider-Man was badass. So,
Wait, did you finish Spider-Man?
yeah, I did.
Awesome.
Yeah, so the first time, like when you load in that game, Spider-Man is like in mid web swing, and like the first time like you swing down, like get really close to the traffic, like as you swing it, it's just like it's exhilarating and it's just so
So,
cool.
ooh.
Yeah, it's just like I felt like my stomach, like I don't know, it was really cool, and like it was,
A
and
pretty
like
visceral reaction
yeah,
in the
and
very
like, and
beginning.
also like Peter is like very well acted. Like they, and like he's just a very believable, like not just as Peter
Peter
Parker, but
Parker.
he's just like a very believable guy. And like again, like I much like I said with Wolfenstein, comic book games don't usually make me emotional, but there's a specific scene in Spider-Man that definitely did. And
Was it when Uncle Ben dies?
yeah, I you never see it coming, you know, and it hits harder every time. But
Every time.
like it's the game itself is just so cool. Like the renditions of like all these different villains. Like I never even they even made Vulture look cool, and like he's like the dumbest looking one, but like
There's a lot of dumb Spider-Man villains.
uh yeah, but like, yeah, the game is just really fun to play.
Shocker.
The game is really fun to play, and like the city is fun to traverse. Like there is fast travel in the game, but I like never used it because it was just always just fun to like swing from place to place, and it's a really awesome game. Um, yeah, I like it. I
I
like that.
do want to say something about Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man quite a bit. Super fun game, right? Like I think I platinumed it in like 3 days. It's fucking great.
Yeah,
But like, so I started thinking a lot about Spider-Man this week because Microsoft had their little online event, right, where they showed some of their games that are going to be coming out for next generation,
yeah,
including Assassin's Creed Valhalla or whatever it's called, right? And like
Yeah. Fuck it.
all over the place, people are like pissed because they promised gameplay and they're like, "Oh, this isn't gameplay." Well, it really made me think about the reveal of Insomniac Spider-Man because like people said the same thing when they saw that trailer. We want gameplay, and it turns out most of
That
that
was
trailer
gameplay.
was gameplay.
yeah,
So I just think people need to be a little more patient and believe in next gen. you
yeah,
know?
Or at least have confirmed is this gameplay or not.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I think that would help.
I mean, what else you got to
But
feel
what's
optimistic
your
about now? You know. Um.
Dick?
Shit.
Um,
All right.
All right,
Well,
what's your last one?
fuck. I got so many good ones. All right. I guess I'll go with I mean, you know what? I'm gonna fuck it. I'm gonna go with Dark Souls 3.
All right,
So,
cool. I was
um,
not expecting that.
yeah. So, man,
More than Bloodborne?
yeah, actually. But like Bloodborne is don't get me wrong. Bloodborne is an excellent game, and that was also on this list. But,
Sinead's cutting that shit down.
yeah. Well, I could just go ahead and just. How do I hang you up? But
All right, I almost just hung myself up for the joke, but no, just keep going with Dark Souls 3.
so like what I
Oh.
like about Dark Souls, like Dark Souls 3 is just it's interesting to me because Dark Souls 3 felt like in a lot of ways it just felt like better Dark Souls 1. It took Dark Souls, it took everything that was great about Dark Souls 1 and just like tightened it up, just like fine-tuned it and just like made it nice.
Toy.
It's just nice and tight. And it just feels good, and like it's just a gorgeous game, and like piecing together that story, and it's just so fucking good, and like going through each area, and like these bosses are just so amazingly rendered and have like so many cool mechanics to them, and like just conceptually are just like really really cool, and like it's just a fantastic game. And honestly, one of the things about Dark Souls 1 is I had a lot of fun playing that cooperatively with our friend Jimmy. But the thing about Dark Souls 1 and the co-op in that game is it was like kind of that shit was kind of random, and
Yeah.
so it didn't always work as you intended. So there's a lot of hoops you had to go through if you wanted to play with a specific person. But like ever since this is a game that came out after Bloodborne, they took the cooperative shit from Bloodborne and implemented it into Dark Souls 3. So now I can like queue up and play the game with like a specific person, and that was just like really important to that was a really important improvement to me. But even like as a single player experience, that game is just fan fucking tastic. And Dark Souls 3 is just a great game. Dark Souls 3, in my opinion, is the best game in that series. So, I love it.
Do y'all have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I've got some closing thoughts real quick. Curse of the Moon, The Mummy Demastered, Marble It Up, and Control.
Okay. Here are my closing thoughts. Resident Evil 2 Remake, No Man's Sky, Monster Hunter World, Bloodborne,
Oh.
Doom, Red Dead Redemption 2, Mafia 3, and...
I was going to talk
Have some faith, Arthur. You gotta have
Stay
some faith.
with me.
Stay with me, Arthur.
All right.
And Killing Floor 2.
All right.
So that's that Christmas music.
Oh my god.
So, if you want to tell us about your favorite games, we have a Discord. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Follow us on any of the YouTube.
Follow
or
us,
other
Arthur.
Podcast apps. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe. Make sure that bell's ding. All of that bullshit. But bye guys.
Later.
Bye.